we're going to get into a recruiting update before we get into Louisiana Monroe. And obviously, Myron Charles flipped last week from Florida State to Texas. Javion Hilson decommitted from Florida State and is, I think, going to end up at Texas. I think that's, unless someone comes in and makes him a Godfather offer, I just see him going to Texas at this point. I think he wants to be there. I think Texas is up in their NIL money enough. And this guy is a phenomenal player. He would be joining Lance Jackson, who on Rivals just became a 5-star, Smith Orogbo on the defensive line, who's a 4-star, could become a 5-star. Myron Charles and Josiah Sharma, Myron Charles is a 4-star, Josiah Sharma up a 3-star, lower 4-star, and Javion Hilson could be a 5-star by the end of this too. This could be the best defensive line class in the country. I have a video on that as well on this channel. So recruiting, visitors for Mississippi State. We have Walter Mathis Jr., defensive lineman from Georgia. He is an LSU commit at this point. So I'm wondering what angle they will take with him on the defensive line recruiting, because there are openings for him to come in and play at Texas, but there's way more opportunity for him to go play at LSU at this point, guys. I don't know if you watched them versus South Carolina. That defense is still not good. They need a lot of help on that defense. So if he wants a lot of playing time right away, I think that's where he would go. I think Texas can easily sell him on NFL draft stock in winning. Alfred Collins will be in the NFL after this year. You see Keandre Coburn and Mora Ojimo in the NFL from the staff. You see Tavondre Sweat and Byron Murphy come to the NFL from the staff. So overall, I think that's where Texas is going to sell, is the NFL upside and also winning at the college level when you're here. I think LSU, there's a chance. I mean, guys, they should have lost the South Carolina game. If Lenora Sellers doesn't get hurt, they lose that game. I had LSU at 9-3. I almost had them at 8-4. I had them at 8-4 for the longest time, and then I decided I just can't do it. I put them at 9-3. I had South Carolina at 7-5, so that actually makes me feel better about that. But LSU's not that good. They really aren't. If they had a harder schedule, they would be like an 8-4, 7-5 team. They're not very good. And then Chase Sims is also coming in from Mississippi State in a couple weeks. He is an A&M commit. And again, guys, for him, can he get over being passed up by Texas for the longest time and then prioritizing other recruits? If he can get over that, then I think he ends up at Texas. If he cannot get over that, then I think he ends up at A&M or somewhere else. Depends on how their season goes. There's so many. The middle tier of the SEC it's at a tipping point. I have no clue how some of these teams are going to finish, so it's going to be very interesting. Javion Hilson will also be coming to the Mississippi State game. Guys, I think if the way Texas recruits, I would be shocked if he leaves the Mississippi State game and he isn't committed to the University of Texas. I think if he comes to this game, like he should, a couple of these guys have bailed before. If he doesn't bail and shows up to this game, I think he ends up committed to the University of Texas. I really believe that. You'll see a video dropped here if he is. Again, I will be here with a video if he comes to Texas. Myron Charles and Josiah Sharma, Texas Longhorns commits, will be there as well. So it's awesome to have them on campus. And then Texas versus Georgia. By the way, I'm not naming any 2026 or 2027, only 2025. Guys, it's hard to keep these guys it's hard to keep track of these guys. I'm not going to be able to keep track of these all the other guys. One, it's not my full-time job right now. If it was my full-time job, I'm getting paid for this. This was my life. I could. Not my full-time job right now. Joseph Mbachu, defensive lineman for Georgia. From Georgia, committed to Florida, will be in town for the Texas versus Georgia game. Jonah Williams and Kelshawn Johnson will also be. Jonah Williams obviously committed to the University of Texas. Kelshawn Johnson committed to Texas A&M. I think out of the next defensive lineman, if Javion Hilson does come into the fold, I think Joseph Mbachu is the next most likely. He already visited for the UTSA game. He's coming back for Georgia, so he obviously liked his visit to Texas. This guy is huge, guys. 6'4.5", almost 6'5", over 300 pounds. Really good. I think he can play on the outside and inside. So this is a big commitment if they can get him from Florida. And I think, guys, I'm going to be honest with you. I think Florida is there for the taking. Anyone on Florida, if you want them, I think Texas should dive head first and 1 into that roster, 2 into their recruiting class, because Billy Napier is not going to be there that long. If Florida is smart, they fire Billy Napier very soon so they can find someone, put the fishing line out there and catch them and let them know or ahead of time so they can keep this class together, because Florida has a pretty good class coming in. But if you fire him late and then you hire someone late, they're going to be gone, and hopefully Texas can benefit from that. Kelshawn Johnson, obviously from A&M. Guys, to me, the sale here is easy. We need a third wide receiver in this class, a speedy guy. He fits that. And number two, Texas A&M, why the hell would you want to go there? Who have they produced at the wide receiver position? The guys you've produced have transferred. Evan Stewart is no longer there, your best wide receiver. He's at Oregon. Moose Muhammad, who had a good 1 or 2 years there, has not done well and may not even end up in the NFL at this point, like his dad, who's an underrated wide receiver in the NFL. And in this new offense under Colin Klein, you don't fit in this offense. They want to run the ball. Why would you go there? I don't, unless they are just absolutely giving you a gigantic offer in NIL. I do not understand it, man. I do not understand it. Look what Texas produces at wide receivers under Steve Sarkisian to what there's no track record for Mike Elko and there's no track record for Jimbo Fisher. Unless, let's hypothetically, Texas offers you $500,000 and A&M's offering you $1 million. I understand. But if it's anywhere close, if it's 600 to 500, you're a moron if you're not going to the University of Texas over Texas A&M. I don't even know how Texas A&M fans could argue that. That doesn't make any sense to me. First off, your draft stock will be higher when you leave Texas, so you'll make that up. Like, if you're 1 or 2 rounds drafted ahead of where you would have been going to Texas, then A&M, that right there, that makes up the money. So it does not make any sense to me. It really doesn't. You see how Ryan Wingo's doing in this offense. You see how Isaiah Bonds already almost had his best year in college already through 3 games. I think he has like 300 yards receiving. His highest ever was like 500 or 600. So I don't get it. If you're a wide receiver, listen, if you're a wide receiver quarterback, Texas should be in your top 3. Period. End of story. I don't understand it. Steve Sarkisian has a track record there. This program now has a track record there. You should be coming to the University of Texas. That's what I'd be saying. I would literally sit there and be like, brother, what are you doing? Why aren't you coming to Texas? And then for UTSA, like I said, Joseph Mbachu came to town, and then Michael Terry III did come to town. Guys, that's going to be very interesting to me right now. If Nebraska keeps playing like they're playing and they have really good NIL, I could see him going there. I think it's going to be Nebraska or Texas. I think Oregon has fallen out of favor here. I think it's too far away. And I don't think he likes the way they'd use him. They said running back, which doesn't make any sense to me. He wants to be a wide receiver or an offensive weapon as Texas is selling. He doesn't want to be pigeonholed to one position unless that one position is wide receiver, whereas Texas saying tight end, wide receiver, H-back. So it's going to be very interesting. That is your recruiting update. I think you're most likely to commit next is Javion Hilson. I think your next behind that is probably Joseph Mbachu. And your next possible flip, out of all the guys that are committed somewhere else, I honestly think Kelshawn Johnson coming in for that Texas versus Georgia game and the way Texas A&M is playing offense, I think that's a really good possibility of a flip there, guys. So
college football is even more exciting with some action on the line. And the games are even better when you're cashing in. And the Voice of College Football is the place to be to get the greatest value. Let's start with my picks. 75% against the money line, 58% against the spread. I've got a 40-year track record. In fact, in 2023, at $100 played per game, you would have netted over $9,300. And guess what? I'm just the warm-up act. Steve Merrill, our ace in the hole, show stopper from Wager Talk. 6 years with the Voice of College Football, over 30 years in the industry. Steve gives us analysis on all the big games, but you can't miss Steve's weekly under-the-radar pick, which went 21-5 against the spread the last 2 seasons. I repeat, 21-5 against the spread. You also get picks from some of our top analysts here at the Voice of College Football, including Steve Dace and Matt Zemek. Become a YouTube channel member or Patreon member for just $99 per month. Go to the main channel on YouTube, click join, and select the betting tier. Do the same thing on Patreon. Make 2024 a winner now.